The events that followed Callum's involvement to save Cameron from the dishonest bodyguard are described in chapter 1350. Mr. Newman thanks Callum for saving Cameron and avoiding any damage from happening to her. Mrs. Newman is experiencing a mixture of sadness and annoyance as she realizes that her plan to poison Cameron during the banquet might have prevented her daughter from going through such a horrible event. Cameron leaves her room after getting dressed in new clothes and joins Callum and her stepfather in their conversation regarding the incident. Callum refrains from interfering with Cameron's feelings while calmly seeing her return to her stern posture. Cameron sits quietly and listens intently as her mother and stepfather continue their chat. Callum eventually makes the decision to depart after realizing that the new man's display of gratitude was only a front. He recognizes their concern about Cameron's reputation as a ruse to advance their own agenda. Callum has vowed to find the deviant who stalked Cameron and will seek retribution when he has enough proof. He speaks to Mr. Newman as he gets ready to leave, highlighting the tight relationship between Cameron and his sister-in-law Serenity. Knowing Serenity's power and her care for Cameron, Mr. Newman thanks Serenity for her concern and for entrusting Callum with Cameron's safety. He assures Cameron that a fresh female bodyguard will be appointed to safeguard her in the future. When they are outdoors, Callum looks at Mrs. Newman and can tell she is not happy. Mrs. Newman admits she disagrees with her husband's choice, but is overcome by her desire to make sure Carrie marries into the York family. She is prepared to go to considerable efforts to prevent Cameron from getting married into the York family, and fiercely opposes the idea. Cameron sits inside the home once more and observes in silence as Callum leaves for the night. She withdraws to her room, locking the door behind her in search of comfort and protection. She has nowhere else to turn in a world where lies and uncertainty abound. After giving each other worried looks, Mr. and Mrs. Newman continue up the stairs without further disturbing Cameron. Mrs. Newman confronts her husband after entering their bedroom and declares her ardent objection to Cameron getting married into the York family. She declares her steadfast commitment to making sure that her adored daughter Carrie is the one who fits in with the Yorks, even if doing so will result in terrible consequences. In this chapter, thankfulness is used to cover up underlying lies and covert goals. The new man's true gratitude was revealed by Callum's acute insights and will to seek justice for Cameron's trauma. The extent Mrs. Newman is prepared to take to preserve control over her daughter's destiny are revealed by her steadfast devotion to securing Carrie's status within the York family. Cameron searches for refuge in the security of her sealed chamber among this web of duplicity and competing ones, desiring a break from the manipulation and unpredictability that all Cameron searches for refuge in the security of her sealed chamber among this web of duplicity and competing ones, desiring a break from the manipulation and unpredictability that are all around her.